Alright, it's time for part 2 of our weekly test show. Well, this has been a fun one so far. And I've got something else for Tom and Ben to have a little fun with here. Oh, and one more thing too. I saw that Honolulu did postpone their tests, so I'm going to go ahead and add them to the postponed documentation for tomorrow. So I'll add them to the postponement document for tomorrow. Alright, that's all set to go. And I'll get the document for tonight's stuff up. Alright, the clip in question. I thought it saved. It's not gonna work. Or did I hit close before it even finished? Maybe I need to try it again. There we go. This time it appears. Alright, let's see here.
That must be stuff.
Oh, this is gonna be a lot of fun. This is gonna be fun. Alright, let's go. do.
But what?
Oh, this thing's almost low on power. But yeah, I'll give it time to charge. It's over at 17. I'll go with my charge in the other room. Okay. So, let me mute that. Alright. So that's it for our primetime stuff. For now, that is. Turn these both down. I do say for now because I found out CBS is going to air another Hollywood Squares episode tonight. Yep, Drew's not going to come back, so we may as well just end the call there. Wow, look at all this stuff here. And I see Fort Worth actually ended up testing very late. They ended up testing at 7:30 p.m. An hour later than they normally do. And look at, oh my god. Oh my god. It took over an hour to finally relay the Norman test. This is how far behind my logger is right now. That's how far behind it is. It's insane. It is insane how far behind my logger is as of the moment. Alright. Now, it's time to see what kind of crazy words we can make from the WMBS word game for today. So let me pull this up here. I actually do have a transfer document somewhere. Let me see if I still have it. I do still have it. Nice. Yep, that was the word from the last time. That was from the last time. Here are the... So there's the letters again from this week's word game. E, TRBEIAST, and E. Those are the letters. Now, let's see what kind of crazy words we can come up with here. But the good thing about this is that I was able to see not only Wheel of Fortune, but of course Flipside and The Perfect Line, and of course that Greatest Average American game. So I was able to see all of it tonight, which I'm actually happy for. Alright, let's see what kind of words we can make. And then after this we'll do a short edition of the eBay scavenger hunt before we take another break for Hollywood Squares, and then when that's done, then we'll see if Brendan's up for Deal or No Deal. If so, we'll do it. If not, then we will not. So, but we'll see. Alright, let's see here. Let's see, Breet. I-A-E-S-T. That's not even the right spelling, but just try to see what kind of words I can make from all these letters. Tribe is one of them. Tribeast. Out of a word. What else have we got? How about Barist? Bristeat. Baristete. Baristete. How about East? Breit. East Beret. East Beret. And what else? Reb. IS. Rebeast. Rebeast. IRT. Rebeastert. Yeah, see Johnny Thunder's still catching up on everything from the last several days, including some of the stuff that he got from yesterday. Including all the stuff from yesterday. Alright, let's see what else we can try here. Oh, and I was thinking of adding the message from Halifax, Nova Scotia on the discontinuation of Weather Radio Canada. How about Bristeat. Interbeast. East. Street. Yeah, that's all I can think of. This is the last one. Hallelujah. And since Fort Worth decided to go for it this evening, so they went for it tonight, everything here for Fort Worth, gone. Let's see if we heard from So MeTV FM has not tested yet this week. But I can take a look at the logger and see what else has happened here. That's an Amber Alert update. So yeah, let's do this for a moment here before we get to the scavenger hunt here. And I do not think we've heard anything else, so. So yeah, it sounds like this event is definitely over here. So I'm going to go ahead and add everything for tomorrow. And then over to the monthly list. Nothing else to add otherwise. And since Connecticut already did their monthly, I'm not going to add anything else. Alright, so that I'll add in at midnight, and then that will be it. So, and we'll keep this for later because we're gonna play around with it again while Hollywood Squares is on. Alright, let's continue looking for some Dell Optiplex PCs. And this will be the final addition to this week's End of Weather Radio Canada episode, which again, that, the severe weather event, and everything else, I'm gonna post all together. Alright, let's see here. We have a 7080 small form factor PC. Here's the 3060 Tower PC that would complete my sort of collection. Yeah, that would complete my 3060 lineup. This micro tower here. Not micro tower, but this tower PC. Don't know what Optiplex model this is. I believe it's the 7010. Yep, 7010 Micro. 13th Gen i5. 11 Pro. There's the Optiplex 5050 small form factor. You can see this thing has seen better days. So that's the sticker that lets you know it's Windows 10 Pro that's on there. There's a 7060 Micro, which has 16 gigs of RAM. This doesn't have any hard drives, and the Wi-Fi adapter and the power cable is also not included. So unless listed above, peripherals are not included. Here's another one of those 3060 Tower PCs. Alright. This, I think, is the part we've been waiting for. This is another 3060 with a with the A500 Intel i5. So it looks like Nova Scotia did the same thing that the other one did earlier. This is a 5080 micro with Wi-Fi already included, but the hard drive is empty. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and throw this recording in here. Expand this out a little further here. Yeah, just so that way we can get the entire thing on the screen. So this will be the final addition to this. So not only will the final tests be included, but also I'll probably include the remaining discontinuation messages. Yeah, I'll probably include the remaining discontinuation messages and announcements. Yeah, I'll probably just go ahead and include those in this set. As again, this will likely be the last. This will be the, as I said, this is the second to last episode before its official Judgment Day, where we will see if that petition in the House of Commons is enough to save Weather Radio Canada and keep it running for the foreseeable future, or if it's going to be game over for weather radio technology in Canada. So somebody else had actually brought the significance of that shutdown, the shutdown's effects, to the government's attention over there. So hopefully something will be done to stop the shutdown from occurring, which I hope it works. And I'm sure that's what everybody in Canada is hoping for too. And then here's a 3070 Tower PC. And then here's a 7090 small form factor. That looks like an 11th gen i5, not a 10th. But this is a 10th gen. But this must be a replacement sticker. Okay, there you go. It says upload complete. But I need to be sure it's actually there first. Yep, there it is. Alright. Now, there was a frequency I was gonna try to get the message on early on the first time around. But I was unable to, because it said there were some technical difficulties or something. Well, in fact, I can take a look and see. I believe it was channel 2, if I remember. The world's first privacy display on mobile. Yeah, it was channel 2 on that one receiver. So yeah, it's that Prairie Sky receiver from earlier. And if the service actually ends up shutting down, I actually still have an old video of the broadcast cycle. Well, we still have a little time left, so let's keep looking. So here's the 7060 micro. This one I believe is the one. I don't think mine is able to. Alright, so I want to get the message on there, and then that's the last one. Even if I have to wait 5 minutes. The thing about these 7000 series micro PCs from Dell is you could actually change the orientation of the Dell logo to make it sit up straight. So if you're using the thing horizontal like I am, the logo won't be rotated. So you could put the logo, you could change the logo around on the case to fit the orientation that the device itself is placed in. So as such, it'd be placed, you could rotate it around 90 degrees 90 degrees. You can rotate it around, and this one has VGA. Yeah, that one has VGA. This one's a Optiplex 7090, small form factor, which does not have a disk drive. It's just the PC itself. There's no processor, no RAM, no hard drives of any kind. So there's where you could put another SSD if you wanted to. There's room for yet another SSD. So I think you could put up to 3 SSDs in here. However, here it doesn't look like you could actually put a third one. Even though it looks like you can, you have to. It has to have that connector there. Or that key thing, or whatever it is, in order for it to work. Here's an Optiplex 7050, small form factor. This 9020 has 2 terabytes of storage. Here's a 7080 micro with a 10th generation. So this is actually one of those micro PCs that I've been having my eye on, because this one, you can actually put 2 NVMe SSDs into it, in addition to just one 2.5-inch hard drive. unlike my 3060, which only has room for one NVMe and 2.5 inch hard drive each. So it's either NVMe SSD, 2.5 inch drive, or both. I mean, I was personally surprised that whoever had that 3060 Micro previously did not use the blue caddy to put a 2.5 inch drive in there and expand the storage. So I'm just making use of whatever's available, and giving it the upgrade it truly deserves. Anyway, Hollywood Squares is about to start. Alright. It's going to be time for Hollywood Squares here shortly. But at the same time, I have a feeling that it's going to be one of those times just like when the CW re-aired those episodes of Scrabble and Trivial Pursuit, where they took a half-hour portion and condensed it down into half an hour. I don't know why they did that, but it's odd. Alright, here we go again.
Alright, here we go again.
There must be some.
How can an amateur take me down?
Possible. How can an amateur take me down?
Oh my gosh, that's great. Alright. Let me turn this down here. Okay. Yeah, the problem is I have to keep that drive connected, so that way Clipchamp can actually I don't need, it doesn't matter because the screens are already in Clipchamp's cache. So, all right. I see Brendan has an offline status, so it looks like he is not going to be available for Deal or No Deal this week, at least from what it looks like. Alright, so let me now change out the external hard drive for the iPad, because I'm going to now import both the severe weather compilation to the computer, and along with that, the last of the Radio Canada transmitter shutdown messages that I needed to go back on. So, but of course, as I've said earlier, there's still some final things I got to get taken care of tonight before we are officially done here. Oh yeah, this has been fun.
This is... There must be something I can do. What?
Ah, jeez. What fun that was. I'll go ahead and turn the noise reduction back on and put the microphone back down to like 75%. And I'll go ahead and get rid of Talking Ginger. Wow, this thing has been frozen since 4:30? How? Just how? That's all I know. Oh, wow. Script error. Let me try that again. Oh wow, that Gale Watch is going so fast. Oh my god. Alright, is it done finding stuff? Oh, it's still looking for things. Alright. Oh, that's right. It's still looking for stuff. That's right, it's still looking for things. So I'll give it as much time as it needs to finish locating everything. And then we can finish this saga, hopefully once and for all. Is it still looking? Okay, it looks like it's got to a point now where I can actually move it. So now it's on the Chicago Avenue. Okay, there we go. So just for simplicity, I'm just going to go and throw in the original. And then this video that's 12.1 gigabytes, that one is that full severe weather compilation at 1080p. So, I mean, I did expect it to go quite slow, but as I've explained previously, I've seen that uploads on a mobile device can take a long time. And that first video, I presume, is that made it onto here is the Weather Radio Canada thing. This one's going to be the severe weather video. That will be next. And then over to the desktop, we have the Halifax screen recording here of the station ID in English and the discontinuation message of the service. Still, even after all of this, I am very baffled as to why they're even doing this in the first place. When it shouldn't have even been thought of to begin with. Alright, so again, there's no screen provided. And then over to pictures here. Oh, it failed, didn't it? It says partially successful. Let's try it again. Maybe sometimes I have to reconnect the device. I know damn well this thing has... I know I put 3 terabytes of space in this thing just for this one moment. Alright, so I'll find stuff again. Oh, looks like I threw in the video already. Alright, now how did I do this before? This is totally different than when this was done in iMovie. In fact, I myself was curious to know what Hello Weather was. And I found out that it's similar to how, similar to the National Weather Service phone lines here in the United States. You know, you could get your weather conditions for your location by just a simple phone call. Alright, so those are the final 2 things then that I needed to add. So all the tests from earlier today, and all that. Let's see. Alright, let's export it. And then I'll go ahead and load up the Windows 7 virtual machine and close these 2 recordings. That's right, I'll throw the right whoa, okay. Okay, I did not okay, I saw that. The VMware logo was like blue or something for like a split second. I don't know why it was like that, but pretty weird if I do say so myself. Oh yeah, here was a picture of the small form factor PC prior to it going into service. Because this was a shot I was going to do for the Nostalgia Paradise finale. Showcasing that I was putting both of these PCs into service and everything like that. I'd already done everything with it, so it's not like I'm going to need it anymore. So, the downloads folder contains all the videos here, including the El Domain remake with the new music, the Wilcook Road video, and then Waukegan. Now, I'll take note of the original dates, and I will get... So, pretty much, I'll spend the rest of the night putting all of this stuff together. You know, piecing together the rest of these elements and everything like that. Now, as that's still going here, there's only how much space? 556.3 gigabytes. So I don't know how it's not accepting this 12 gigabyte video. I know it's nothing to do with the PC storage, but but I know there's some cases where attempting it for a second time will actually work. Alrighty, so before we get ready to transition into Yahtzee here, unfortunately, since Brandon is not going to be able to join us this week, we will, as I've said, jump straight to Yahtzee. But if the plans allow tomorrow, then I'm considering doing a 12-hour edition. Well, not really a 12-hour edition, but maybe another sort of shortened edition of Minecraft, where only we will finish the interchange with 205, as well as the interchange with Interstate 1 and 205, and 2 and 205. So then that way that interchange will be totally finished. So then next week we can get started with the final piece of this. We can then get started with the final piece of this larger project, which is Interstate 602, or what could be soon known as former Interstate 602, as I will either keep the 602 designation as it is, or give it a whole new designation entirely. In terms of an entirely new designation, I am currently considering redesignating that entire section as Interstate 389. All right, so let's see if it'll accept it this time. Maybe it didn't like that shorter video and then having to go through a longer one. But yeah, the thing is, there's sometimes where I had to try and re-import things multiple times. In previous cases, I've had to try to import the same video numerous times. I could put this onto my Google Drive, but that would just take hours, and that would delay the release of this thing even further. So yeah, I find it best to just put the video directly onto my desktop PC, the Micro, and then just end up releasing it as it is from there. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. So I'm giving it as much time as it you guys see all the comments from when the original iteration of the last season was deleted by mistake. I believe I saw somewhere that he's gonna remake it again. I don't know that he's going to remake it again. I believe I saw it somewhere. Alright, well, I guess other than that, once this is done here, we will transition, as I've said, into our final game here of the night before we get to the true final stage. You know, the true final stage of our show here this evening before we set you all free. So, I talked about the severe weather event last night. But now, let's talk about what's coming tomorrow. Now, a whole lot of offices have actually ended up postponing their weekly tests today because of the severe weather threat. Wilmington, Ohio postponed their test because of the tornado watch that would end up getting issued later on. Cleveland, Ohio did the same. I'm assuming Charleston, West Virginia did the same thing, although no statement was sent out beforehand. Pittsburgh canceled their test because, as I've seen in previous occasions, either they test on Wednesday or they don't test at all, just like St. Louis, although they did an exception to that and ended up making it up, which is something that St. Louis doesn't normally do. There were a few other ones who postponed as well. Buffalo went for it. Buffalo decided to go for it today. DC decided to go for it today. Mount Holly went for it today. Northern Indiana actually announced the postponement just minutes before they canceled that tornado watch. So I think they probably could have just canceled the tornado watch and then went ahead and sent out the test at between 10 and 11 a.m. Central Time instead of delaying it to tomorrow, which is the case. So Northern Indiana's test was postponed to the next day. And since this is going to be Northern Indiana on its own, Indianapolis, I almost forgot about Indianapolis. They too also postponed. Paducah postponed as well, considering I have not seen them relay any test at all within the last several, within the main portion of all this weekly test stuff. Let's see, Louisville, I believe, also postponed. Jackson, Kentucky postponed. Springfield, for some reason, decided to postpone because of inclement weather there. Birmingham and Huntsville postponed. Little Rock, I believe, postponed as well. Tulsa decided to go for it. Fort Worth ended up doing their evening test an hour late. They usually do it at 6:30, but for some reason they did it at 7:30 instead. I think this is the second or third time that I've seen Fort Worth go this late. Personally, that's what I think. Although I could be wrong, but I will probably have to take a look back at the archives, and I'll see exactly what the case is. Let's see, is there anything else? But of course, South Carolina did their tornado drill this morning, and for some reason Columbia actually still ended up doing their test, although they said that although the test was going to go toward all the states, all of the areas in South Carolina, apparently I believe this is what's going to happen with Indianapolis, because although they said that the normal test would not take place this week because of the Indiana tornado drill yesterday, in the last 3 years or so, since I first heard that wording, they actually ended up still testing anyway. Again, I don't know why. Maybe somebody there just didn't get the memo, because Indianapolis literally serves the entire state of Indiana. So there's no reason why Indianapolis should do a weekly test when they did the tornado drill for their entire coverage area, for their whole coverage area, and they say in the message that it was going to count towards their test. That I guess we will never know. Alright, so that's ready here, so everything is all set to go. And I made sure I got the call sign correct. And then I will get that up soon, and I'll get all three up soon after we go off the air here tonight. So let's see. So there's actually quite a lot of postponements that we got tomorrow. So we got Northern Indiana, we got Indianapolis, we got Wilmington, we got Charleston, we got Cleveland, we got Louisville, we got Jackson, we got State College. Yep, they're postponed. Jackson, Mississippi. Binghamton also postponed. Memphis postponed. Birmingham and Huntsville, as I've said earlier, postponed. Houston postponed. Shreveport postponed. Nashville postponed. Little Rock postponed. Lake Charles and New Orleans, I'm going to assume both postponed. Although I did not see any statement or anything like that from either office. In fact, let me check KLT again and just take a quick look and see if New Orleans ever ended up going for it. I just want to check here through all of this stuff. 3:30 p.m., so I gotta keep scrolling up. And because of a separate severe weather event in Hawaii, they ended up postponing their test as well. This is 1 p.m., so we gotta keep scrolling up. That's Flagstaff. Yep, because we moved the clocks forward, Arizona goes back to testing at 1 p.m. This must be when Grand Junction did it, although I don't think my logger got it. Or I might have missed it. So looking at it as of right now, it looks like New Orleans made the wise decision to not go for it. So, to not go for it and test during in that slight risk. So good move there, New Orleans. Good move. And this is Detroit, although it does say Ohio. So yeah, good move New Orleans, good move Lake Charles, although I don't know if Lake Charles tested. I mean, the only way to know that they tested is if this link even works. Okay, it does work. But there is nothing. Okay, so yes, as I said, Paducah postponed, Lincoln postponed. I'm going to assume Lubbock postponed as well, because I did not hear a test come out of them earlier. North Platte, I don't know if they ended up testing, because a high wind warning got issued right when the test was supposed to happen. And then again, Hawaii ended up testing, well, did not test, I should say. So tomorrow, quite a lot of stuff to watch over. So, as such, I am going to set a special timestamp here to, give myself some time to, do my morning routine and then get ready to capture Northern Indiana, although I will be watching over all the other offices as they make their tests up tomorrow. So, this is the entire postponement list here. I'll go ahead and clear this. I'll probably add the marginal risk too for tomorrow if I have enough time left at the end. So we can go ahead and clear this. And then these are all the drills for next week. So these are all the drills for next week. So we got Ohio and Michigan. So we got Ohio and Michigan coming up. So, of course, Northern Indiana will test right in between Ohio and Michigan next week. And, of course, March 25th, then, is when we have Iowa and Nebraska. April 8th is Maryland. And then April 15th, I presume, is going to be Pennsylvania. And then, of course, the grand finale of all of this is April 16th, when we have these, when we have Wisconsin and Minnesota all do their drills simultaneously. And when they all do their drills simultaneously, not once, but twice, as it has been for many years. It's quite a disappointment that they don't do the test tornado watch and tornado warning like they did in years prior. But it was done to avoid the unnecessary confusion. But I understand their reason why. I mean, it kind of makes it feel like it's the real deal. So yeah, that's what we got coming up here next week. And then after all this is said and done, And then I guess I'll see what else I can get done. But yeah, as I said, I'm gonna finish the Street View. I'm gonna finish the Street View stuff tonight, as well as get the other stuff up, and then I will probably call it quits for the night after that. Oh, but since Brendan, as I've said, Brendan is unable to join us tonight, we are going to go ahead now and move on to our final game here of the night. That, of course, being Yahtzee. So that, of course, being Yahtzee, which I will get back to in about a couple weeks. Yeah, which I will get back to in a couple weeks. Because when I get back from spring break next week, which would be the week of the 16th, I'm going to start by finishing up. Yeah, there's my Jessamine, but none of the progress. Oh, actually, I think the progress from, I believe the progress from when I did. Yeah, it looks like all the progress is carried over. So. These are all the trophies here. So yeah, there was yeah, because the last episode of Yahtzee I taped, not with friends. So I suppose this is how you do. So this is multiplayer. So this is actually computer So this is local multiplayer, and then solitaire is just solo. He gets friends on the same device, and then versus the computer, this is where you play against up to three computer opponents. So yeah. But yeah, as I've said, it isn't going to be for a while until we actually fully get back to Yahtzee. As of course I've laid out the groundwork for the rest of the spring taping cycle following spring break, as we will get back to it, as we get ready to transition into the second half of the spring taping cycle, which again is expected to kick off on next week, Monday the 16th. However, of course, there's going to be a little bit of an unexpected addition on the 16th. Because that is also going to be, Judgment Day for Weather Radio Canada. Did the petition start to keep the last best possible petition start to keep Weather Radio Canada alive? Or am I going to wake up to finding out that Streamwriter captured the transmitters of Weather Radio Canada shutting down one by one? Well, we are going to find out on that day. In fact, a lot of enthusiasts have actually captured these Weather Radio Canada tests for potentially the last time. So we are going to find out here pretty soon if that ended up being the case. Aside from the Weather Radio Canada shutdown, the 16th is also when I'm set to get back to taping episodes of my shows. So of course I'll be back to taping episodes of Ticket to Ride, which I will be doing on the week of the 16th through the 20th. So, from the calculations that I've made on both shows over the course of last week, I was able to get a whopping 40 episodes made in just that one day alone. So, assuming all goes well, I could end up recording another 40 episodes on the 16th, and then another 40 after that on the 17th, leading to me finishing the series completely on the morning of Thursday the 19th. But also on the 16th, if the shutdown of Weather Radio Canada actually comes to fruition, then of course I will be the one posting the transmit. I will be posting the shutdown in what will probably be the final episode. In what will be the final episode of the end of Weather Radio Canada, which I will get up later that night after my evening college class. Because by then I won't have to edit any of those Ticket to Ride episodes. In fact, I won't have to worry about editing those for a while. But then again, Thursday the 19th, that is going to be the final. That is going to be, hopefully, the day I will be recording the final 20 Ticket to Ride episodes. So I'll get the final 20 episodes recorded on that day. So then Friday the 20th, I can get Yahtzee further ahead. Because looking at the calculations right now, the show is at 300 episodes out of the 500 that I've set the series to go for. So Friday the 20th, I'll spend that entire day recording as many Yahtzee episodes as I can. So yeah, then Friday the 20th, I'll just get as many Yahtzee episodes made as I can, and then I'll continue that process on that Monday and Tuesday. And then the best case scenario would be just like with Ticket to Ride, completing Yahtzee on the 26th, and then later that night, while I'm watching stuff like the Showcase Beatdown live stream and other things like that, I'll then start transferring over all those episodes over to another storage device. So that way I can store the episodes, but actually I'll make 2 copies. I'm actually going to make 2 backups of it. So that way if I lose one backup, then I'm not going to lose. That way if I lose one of the backups, I'll still have another backup. So I mean, that's the best thing when it comes to backups, especially for a show like this. I want to have 2 sources of backups of these recordings. Because what if something happens to the PC while those episodes are sitting in the backlog? So it's best that I have multiple copies of these recordings, so that way if any of those hard drives inside of one of the PCs I'll be storing them in goes bad, if it goes bad, or if I end up in a situation where that PC is unable to load and I have to therefore reset it, then I'll at least have a copy of the data. But I mean, if I do have to reset the one of my PCs, I'll only have to worry about losing data on the internal NVMe SSD. I actually won't have to worry about the SATA drives that I had connected to it. In fact, what I'll do is, prior to the reset, or as the reset is taking place, I'll just take out those SATA drives and then go through the process of reinstalling the operating system. And then after it's reinstalled, and then once it's reinstalled and everything is set back up, then I'll move on with the process of resetting everything up, like the WPLD logger and everything like that. Of course, I'll make backups of everything from config files to programs, and basically everything. Basically everything that you could possibly think of. So of course I'll make 2 backups of both of these shows, both Yahtzee and Ticket to Ride, once they've been made. So then, at the earliest, on Friday, March 27th, that is actually when I would like to get started on production Well, actually, that is actually when I'd like to get to production of more episodes of Sorry. Now, we're going to be taping Sorry the following week, March 30th through April 6th, I believe it is, April 6th. Well, up to April 7th, so up until the end of the day on April 6th. Now, the reason being is that it has to do with another spring break, and it's not me again. It's by somebody else, which I will not go into detail on, but that's why I'd like to get a head start on it on the 27th. So then, starting March 30th, I'll be spending that day, that whole week, March 30th through April 3rd and then April 6th, not just recording episodes of Sorry, but I'll also be doing more work with Big John's Wheel of Fortune as well. So also on that Thursday night, the 26th, or maybe some point later on, probably this Thursday night or something, after our backyard baseball game, I will, what I'll actually do is, I'll take note of the players' names from the Play 9 game. Yeah, because I'm thinking about doing that instead. You know, having players from Play 9 on our Wheel of Fortune thing instead. So that's what I'm thinking. So that's what I'm thinking of doing instead. So, you know, that'll kind of put it on par, you know, with the focus of all original content. And but I mean, although these shows are the primary focus now, we're still doing EAS content. I mean, with the severe weather event. However, as of this moment, it's only the Chicagoland area. However, I am going to be including a little bit of Lincoln in this one too. So, as in whatever stations I can pick up, that as well. So that is why tomorrow I will also be getting Northern Indiana's weekly physically, and I will be archiving this one in addition to everything else. Because Northern Indiana is not an office I get every day. I totally do not get that office. I don't get any products from that office on any of my physical radios every day. So I thought it'd be fitting, you know, to get Northern Indiana's test, you know, after everything that we've been through, everything the forecast office had issued on Tuesday night, and we had been following along with the whole thing from start to finish, as I'm sure you all know. Yeah, as I'm sure you all know. So I'll get Northern Indiana's test and get it up, and then I'll just watch over the rest of them as the rest of the offices as they make their tests up. And then after everyone's test has been made up, then we have some plans for tomorrow, although I won't go into detail, but depending on how my plans line up, I'm actually thinking about doing another shorter Minecraft show prior to our backyard baseball game tomorrow night, which will be at 5 p.m. And then maybe we could get right back to Minecraft after that. Well, those are at least some thoughts that I have. But I may probably also spend some time testing out that seasonal weather thing, which is why I installed that virtual machine of Ubuntu. I'm going to get to that after I get the Street View stuff set up. and everything else like that. And then, of course, after those two shows, Ticket to Ride and Yahtzee are done, which I was going to get back to, 7th, 9th, 10th, and 13th will be the 4 days where I end up recording the entire 4th season. Yeah, where I end up recording the entire 4th season. Yeah, the whole 4th season of The Bowling Train, which will begin airing in June, on June 1st to be more exact. So it'll start airing on June 1st, and then it will run all the way until, sometime in October, where then the Travel Series remake will officially will begin airing after that. So, yeah, where that Travel Series remake will then start airing after that. So yeah, that is what is to come. And then once the Travel Series remake is done, more Sorry episodes and Wheel of Fortune episodes will continue to be made, and that process will actually continue through the summer, and into the first part of the fall, and then eventually both will be done. And then also in the fall, that's when I'm looking to start production of that Deal or No Deal jackpot thing on the Big John software. Currently thinking about whether I want to do it on the HP laptop or on that Windows 10 virtual machine that I've got. So I'll take a look at my options and I'll think about it as we get closer, as we end up getting closer to that show, getting ready to start production. And then of course it'll be the following spring, where then not only will I be taping the second season of Play 9, but also the first season of 5th Graders Official Replacement. In fact, Deal or No Deal Jackpot will be taking 5th Graders' place, where the second half of the second season was originally supposed to go. However, I couldn't get the DS going, so then there weren't any more PC game replacements. I didn't want to bother taping that other PC game again. So I decided to just go ahead and end it there at 300 episodes as like an experiment. Because we don't really do too much trivia, and there have been too many repeat questions on both games. So that's why we're ending the series at 300 episodes. So Christmas Day 2026 will be 5th Graders' final episode. So yeah, not even 2 years in the series is already ending, because I wanted to end it in 2027, but yeah, unfortunately there are other circumstances that prevent that from happening, and this unfortunately is one of those circumstances. Alright. We're going to get back into the 50s toward the end of the month, because that's going to be when spring's going to start. What about my hometown? Hopefully one more round of cold before. It's gonna slowly warm up, but one thing's for sure, it'll definitely get warmer again very, very soon. Eventually to the point where we'll end up at 70 degrees again. But I did enjoy those 2 days of 70 degrees while they lasted. But of course, you get the idea. So let's see, the plan I heard for tomorrow was stopping somewhere and then somewhere else for lunch. Don't know exact. Oh yeah, there was one place that we wanted to do, which was the Primo's place for lunch and dessert. So yeah, so it probably might be unlikely that I'll be able to get to Minecraft tomorrow, but if that's the case, I probably might just end up doing it off air. So that's one thing for tomorrow. Alright, but of course, before we wrap things up, of course we have to say goodnight to both Tom and Ben. Of course, these two little talking animal things, whatever, for of course being good characters here. our show. I gotta say, this was quite a hectic experience that we put them both through today. But of course, I can't thank them enough for being with us. So we thank you both for joining us today, and we'll be back with both of you next week. Yep, next week back at home when we do this all over again. And then, of course, Talking Ginger and Talking Ben separately. Well, we had those running for the whole day. And, of course, we got to thank all our special guests who have joined us throughout the course of the show today. Of course, let's see, Dimitri was here. He got the South Carolina drill this morning, and he followed along with coverage. Andrew Durant was here. I think there were a few other enthusiasts who were there too. Northern Indiana, yeah, something like that was there. I believe Brian Schlipp was there too. And yeah, that's about all. I don't know if I got every single one, but again, we thank those guests as well, because that's really what makes this show possible. Alright, so, are there any final things I need to go back on here before we wrap this up? Let's see, our Illinois premiered the moderate risk thing. I see Mahoney Valley tried to DX a Pittsburgh transmitter to get a warning for Indiana, Pennsylvania. Northeast Illinois EAS got this here. Thunderstorm watch and warning doubleheader. I see Mahoney Valley got a separate one. This one was from today. And here was the tornado watch captured from a security camera this morning. Let's see, sharp alert. ES Central Ohio, Michigan posted his compilation of everything from March 11th. And let's see. Storm Chicago guy posted another one of the PDS tornado warnings. This was while the perfect line was on. And then, while Canada WX got possibly the last Weather Radio Canada test, I see that, I also saw that SSP also got the last Weather Radio Canada test on a transmitter that was originally supposed to be decommissioned, but the backlash allowed them to keep it going. But I do not know if this time Weather Radio Canada is going to make it through March 16th. But we will have to wait and see when that day comes. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see when that day comes, if that is going to be the case or not. So, as I said, we will find out. We will find out next week if Weather Radio Canada will survive. But if not, but just in case, I was thinking at the end of Sunday's show, I was thinking if I could find a clip of the Canadian national anthem, I was thinking we'll play that at the end of our Sunday show this weekend to salute Weather Radio to honor Weather Radio Canada's 50 years of service to Canadians, as it would be shutting down probably about a couple hours after we go off the air on that night. And also, I forgot to mention something too. Beginning tomorrow night, this will actually be the final weekend that Weather HDS2 and, in fact, an Info Center brand as a whole will be present on the main Plainfield TV. So, meaning going forward, it will be all original programming all the time. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, including live programs that we usually do. The weather scan is all on its own separate thing now. So you've got your weather scan with the chiptunes now. I feel like it was kind of outdated, so I think it was time for a change, and this was a change that was pretty forthcoming, I should say. But yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. So, I mean, we've got the postponed tests tomorrow. I'm hopefully looking forward to going out to lunch again. Maybe to that Primo's place that I've been wanting to go to for quite some time again. And then, of course, our backyard baseball game tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Or maybe if I feel like starting doing another Minecraft show tomorrow, then I could end up doing that. But otherwise, 5 p.m. tomorrow for backyard baseball. We hope you'll join us then. But until then, that wraps up our weekly Test Wednesday show. Thanks again to all our special guests who have joined us today. I'm Mr. Planetfall, and we wish all of you a very pleasant good night.